Yeah.
You're good. Don't worry.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call to order. Council Board of Commissioners meeting Thursday, October 12th, 2023. First thing we need is an approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Got motion. Okay, any discussion from the board on that? Amendments? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. Okay. And passes. And same for the consent agenda, which was in your packet.
I'll make that motion as well.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Agenda is adopted. Now we have public comments. I have a couple people signed up, but they'll be speaking during our public hearing. Anybody else for public comments stuff? No? Okay, we'll close public comments. Move on to reports. Mayor's report. I have nothing to report.
I have nothing to report.
I don't have anything to report either.
Here we go.
So just a couple of things. So just because we just had that discussion, the Board of Justice meeting, so I'd like to request that the planning board kind of review our setbacks in the towns and especially in R1 there, because we have a housing problem and I think more density is a good thing, within reason. I would just ask to have them kind of do a little research, look into, are there some setbacks that we can adjust that are reasonable? So we don't have to go through this in the future with the Board of Adjustments. Does that sound reasonable? Do I need the board to say okay, or can you just?
Probably the setbacks less so than minimum building lot size is probably the inhibitor for density. So, but maybe that's something.
But setbacks more just setbacks. We don't have to, because these lots are, I think more and more people are going to build on lots that are kind of, wonky, if you will, or steep slope type thing. And they're all still going to have to meet all the requirements, from planning standpoint, but just to see if we could, I could see this coming up again, so we don't have to go through a Board of Adjustments meeting to do it. So just to have the planning board look at it and see if there's some options.
Let's see if that's something they want to take up and ask the planning board's appetite for that.
Does the board want to ask the planning board to look into it?
Making like a report.
Well, just to see because they can spend some time on this and say, hey, some of our setbacks are kind of, we might be able to shave some of the setbacks and shift some of the setbacks a little bit, just setbacks. Because I know we did that when I was on the planning board in that other area down there.
R1A.
Yeah.
Whole district, you reduce the setback.
Yeah, so if there's other opportunities to do that, because we had a big long discussion about that, because a lot of these setbacks are kind of traditional setbacks when, a big house with a big lawn and that kind of thing. We might be able to, squeeze a house here and there with the setbacks. We can always have a Board of Adjustments meeting, but if we're able to have them change our setbacks a little bit, tweak them a little bit, I think it's reasonable.
Reduce them.
Well, that'd be something that the planning board would have to look at to see if that's why I would want them to kind of look at it and say, they can say, no, there's really not much we can do, or hey, here's an opportunity that we could reduce them. Yeah, I don't want them to make them bigger, so that reduce them to some degree.
Okay, does the board want the planning board to have a discussion on setback and maybe the minimum building lot size and see if that's something that they think is growth and address it if they so feel? That seems okay. Okay, sounds like you have.
That would be a broader request, even though I skipped my turn, which would be to consider anything that might come into play in ordinances that might allow for more density. That seems to be the larger objective than setbacks. I don't know, just a little bit of a counter.
Yeah.
Only one variance request in 10 years. I wouldn't say we're working ourselves into the mud over variance requests on setbacks.
But I just think it's probably gonna happen more, you know,
Perhaps,
yeah,
but
so.
Am I allowed to?
Yep.
So, I know, I don't know if you guys remember, but a while back, I mentioned about someone coming, I maybe just talked to you, Paige, about someone coming to speak to the board about the importance of looking into our zoning and ordinances because of the housing crisis and kind of talking about what options there are and what the future could look like for towns. I don't know if that's something we could still have her come speak to or can we add that to a future agenda, maybe after I come back from the housing conference.
Okay,
I think that sounds good for future.
Yeah.
agenda topic.
great topic.
I think if this board wants to discuss further what they want the planning board to do, we would need to add an agenda item to discuss that as opposed to our commissioners' reports. But if we want to just advise the planning board to maybe have a 15-20 minute brainstorming session at their next meeting just to kind of look back on their experience of the board and see if there's anything simple like that that they think is inhibiting growth, to go ahead and have a
yeah,
discussion.
and John's part of that, so we'd be able to.
Well, if it's all right for me to, I guess, piggyback on what you're saying, I think it's all relative. For what your objective is, setbacks is one thing, but lot size, minimum lot size is another for the districts. And then also you do have a minimum lot width, frontage width that you have built in and baked into the ordinance as well. So all of that stuff is relative to the size of the lot. And keep in mind that you have 3 residential districts, low, medium, and high density, which still should probably keep their identity. So there's a balance there between the 3. The setbacks is one thing, but if we start talking about minimum lot sizes and lot widths and so forth, I think that's a broader conversation.
All right, so maybe just stick with the setbacks for now.
Well, I think you can have the whole thing and the study will yield what the density might shake out. It might be a little bit more to that, I guess, going forward with the districts that it makes sense to do that.
Okay, so,
Would it be possible to have, I think that presentation would just be really informative to everybody.
oh, yeah,
If we could we possibly do that first and then ask the planning board to kind of. Once we've kind of watched.
okay, I'd like to just have the planning board put it somewhere, not, like, so just that, this is to look at it at some point in time, and we can decide later when it is.
I mean, they're gonna want direction from us. I think if we had a presentation of what specifically we wanted to look at, then we could go back to the planning board and specifically tell them what to.
Okay, but just then put a pin in it, that's fine.
We'll get an agenda item added on.
Yeah,
You can
all right.
schedule,
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah, but I mean, my goal is to look at, what we can do with density. And again, we don't want to overwhelm the town, but yeah, there's some spots we can work with. Cool. All right, so that was it. And then the other thing was, I had the opportunity to ride my bicycle from one end of the state to the other last week. And I just wanted to say, everywhere I went, people were asking me about when I said I was from Sylva, people had heard about it, I heard really good things about it. I was happy to talk about Sylva. I saw a lot of little towns that look just like Sylva, but we're not doing as well, unfortunately. And I think that just goes back to, who we are as a little town and what we're doing and how we're moving forward. And it was just was a great experience and made me really be proud of Sylva. That's it.
Tonight.
I just want to thank Public Works for getting our fall decorations out. And then I also had the opportunity to shadow with the fire department last Monday, and it was really eye-opening, and those guys work really hard. So as many of our departments do. So I just want to say thank you.
Those commissioners' reports, managers' report.
Yes. Thank you all. So as for an employment update, John Crisco, the new maintenance technician, started in Public Works on October the 4th. Officer Cody Ruckart is going to take a job with the Haywood County Sheriff's Office. And Brianna Foster has been hired out of BLET as an officer. She'll start with the town on October the 23rd. Richard Hicks, the interim manager, spent half a day here on Tuesday. I was able to show him upcoming projects and give him a tour of Sylva. I think he'll be a good fit while I'm out on maternity leave. And as a reminder, I'm due November the 10th. Allen Street's still on track. Sewer work is almost complete and horizontal drains have been added to the lower retaining wall. The Bridge Park expansion project bid advertisement is out, so that bid opening is October the 25th, and the board will need to approve the contract on November the 12th. Skyland Drive sidewalk completion date is March 23rd, 2024, and I'm still waiting on the report from DOT on 107, but they're working on it. That's all I have.
Is there a birthday card?
Yes, it's up there.
Sign after.
Okay.
Any more report?
I'll give that when we get to the zoning map text amendment.
Okay, we will move on then to our public hearing on the zoning map amendment request. And we'll start with the planning staff presentation. Right there.
Let's use. For the audience, once again, John Esky, Senior Planner, Jackson County. So this presentation is going to be for a zoning map amendment request. And the applicant is Alan and Virginia Kincaid Trust with property owners. The properties are off of East Main Street. And there's six properties that were, there's 8 properties in total, 6 properties we're talking about for the rezoning. Those are these 2 properties, which are not being requested, but they are part of the package. And then there's 6 lots back here that are part of the rezoning. We'll get into a little more detail of that with the mapping. But you can see in this location where it's located, I won't read all the permit pin numbers off, but pretty much right next to UPS and kind of across from the hotspot. The location is the current zoning property in question is going to be the high density residential district, or the HDR. The ordinance section for which the text amendment is requested is Article 3, procedures in the ordinance, and then Section 3.9.b, zoning and map amendments. So the description of the request is that the applicant is requesting a map amendment that would designate subject properties to general business. So going from HDR to general business. This is a plat that was recently done of the properties as whole. So general business up here, and then where the old Fusion or Soul Fusion's Teeth house is here. And there's a trailer park that's back there that takes up these 6 lots that are in the back. The general business district is the largest district in Sylva's commercially zoned jurisdiction. The GB district offers a broad range of permitted use by right and special use or special use SUP, such as lodging, retail, commercial, restaurants, public, civil, I think it's civic, and recreational uses. Property improvements in this district are subject to development standards as set forth in the zoning ordinance, including building setbacks, landscaping, architecture standards, sidewalk construction, parking schedule, stormwater treatment, et cetera. So currently, you can see that the general business district is all red here. That is the largest district of as far as non-residential district in the town. And so the applicant, the request is to change it from high density to what this color is here on the map that identifies it as general business. So zooming in a little tighter on the property, we have right here. So this would be an inset of that of the zoning map. So I'm zooming in here. So general business is in the red. And the area that we're going to be talking about is right here. That's the orange, the high density district of the town now. So zooming in a little, we're making a little more detail. Again, the properties, the commercial properties that are already in general business are right here at border 107. And then the 6 properties that are subject properties of the presentation tonight are B6 highlighted in yellow. The subject properties are located on the south side of Highway 107, approximately 582 feet south of the intersection of Highway 107 and Coke Creek. These properties total 1.19 acres in land area with 9 existing residential dwellings for manufactured homes and a vacant restaurant, which is the former Soul Fusion's Tea House. That is the area that is in the yellow, sort of the yellow right here. That's the 1.19. Access to these properties are from the public right of way of Highway 107 and private access from a road known as Pathfinder Lane, which was back here. They all recently have, I guess, closed the right of way or disowned it or something. I think didn't they?
Close the paper street.
Closed it, yeah, Pathfinder right up here. These properties are adjacent to the properties to the east that are in the general business district and are not located within the 100-year floodplain. So we're not in a flood hazard area here. The properties to the kind of southeast, so the UPS properties here are general business currently. As you can see it here, this is the UPS property here, and they own that leg right there. It's general business. Properties are or can be served by Tuckasegee Water and Sewer Authority for public utilities. The application response is that the applicant is requesting the town of Sylva zoning map be amended to designate these 6 properties, the 1.19 acres, the general business district. So these 6 that are back here to be into the general business district. The requested map amendment would not constitute spot zoning as the properties to the east are zoned in the general business. As you know, we've talked about it in the past that this was a donut hole where there was a special zoning jurisdiction or district that they were wanting to amend to, that there was nothing else around it that was like that. That's spot zoning, the state frowns upon that. It's a small kind of, it's a little squishy, but they don't do it like that. So it's good to have the flow from one district to the next where there's no, jumping from, over the top of districts, hopscotch, and having all different kind of uses kind of mixed. It's more of a buffering scenario. The town's adopted land use plan for 2040 establishes that these properties will be in the future urban neighborhood district. The encouraged land uses for this future district include primarily residential, small lot, single family, townhome residential, 2, 3, and 4 family units, and multifamily, civic and educational uses that support community residents, live work units, small scale in-home businesses, small scale public open space, i.e. Active pocket parks, passive open space, greenways, etc. However, if the map amendment request is approved, these properties will be in the future community corridors district with encouraged land uses for this district being mixed use buildings, institutional uses, walkable neighborhood commercial, retail, office, personal services, large scale commercial, business centers, community services, and civic educational services. In addition, this requested map amendment will create available property and opportunity in the general business district that may be needed to serve the community during and after the 107 project. So this is the future land use map that we've adopted a couple of years ago. And so the urban neighborhoods district is property, again, it's highlighted in yellow right here. You can see it. So you can see it's in that teal color. So that's the urban neighborhoods designation for what that would be in the future. The 140 land use plan. The purple would be what the what was it called?
Corridor.
Yeah, community corridor district. So the purple would be the community corridor district. And That's it blown up on that map. So you could see the teal. And then if it were approved, these 6 lots for the future land use plan would be designated as this color. So same idea as what the current zoning map is going forward, having that vision going forward. And then I've included in your package the differences and the descriptions in your adopted plan of what that is, of what the description is of urban neighborhoods and community core. That's my presentation. I can answer.
There'll be time for more discussion during the new business, but if you have questions now. So now our applicant is welcome to make comments. I understand that you signed the applicant. Anything you wish to say?
I'm the realtor, I'm not that good, but that's okay. I just thought you guys might want to know the intention of the buyer because it's really important. The trailer park back there really needs to be cleaned up. The oldest one is 78 years old. And then you've got the newest one being 23 years old. The Kincaids have relayed on to the buyer that there has been some drug activity back there. And so this buyer he's wanting it commercial, but before he does anything, he wants to clean that up. There's 2 empty trailers he wants to remodel. He doesn't want to kick them out. However, when DOT cuts off the front, which I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years, they'll be able to stay there that long. And at that time, those trailers have got to go. He would be using the property after that to relocate either Zaxby's or Pizza Hut. So it's not like it's a new thing. But Zaxby's is going to be gone. Pizza Hut's going to be gone. And with the setbacks, like the ordinances, the green space, the parking, everything, they wouldn't have room. But he does want to do that. Hopefully we'll have affordable housing and by the 5, 6 years. But the way they are now, he really needs to clean up those people. They're living there. There is, like John was saying, it's flowing and it's not just a spot over here. But I mean, he's used to going by the town ordinances and he's aware he's got to do the green space, he's got to do the parking and probably have to design, if it's Zaxby's, a different building, which is costly. But when the road's blocked and they're doing the construction, they don't have the right of way out because we closed it because Kincaid's closed it. And then when the buyer come along and wanted this, it's like they're not going to be able to get out of there. I mean, DOT might say, hey, go ahead and use Pathfinder, something like that. But the condition of those trailers, they're in terrible condition. So I just wanted you guys to know the intention is not to just knock people out of homes. Thank you.
Questions from you? I have a question, John, if I should ask it during your presentation, although maybe it's a question for town staff. So I know we notify the property owners when there's a zoning map amendment, but what about the residents that live in those units back there? Were they notified?
A sign is posted on the property, but that's the only notification.
Have you received any comments from anybody that lives back there or any feedback with us? Okay. Any more questions from the board to the applicant or Don? So next, there's a public comment period for this public hearing. Anyone from the public that wishes to comment, you have 3 minutes to speak. I do have one person signed up, Dowdy Bradley.
Yes. I just got one question. If that goes commercial, how's it, I own the property behind that. How's that gonna affect my tax pay? I'm paying $800 a year to the town of Sylva for no services, none whatsoever. And I just wondering how much more is it gonna jump it up?
So your property is not being amended, so you're staying HDR, right? It's a lot behind us. So, I mean, aside from the overall development of 107 affecting property values through there, any use they, anything they do to their property, obviously impacts yours, but a zoning map amendment, I don't think has any direct impact on property taxes, a nearby zoning map amendment.
So I won't be taxed in another zone.
You won't be taxed in another zone?
Yeah.
No, your tax rate would be the same. Everyone's tax rate is the same, right? That wouldn't change. Right. Does staff have any additional feedback to that question?
Yeah, no, if it's his district, it's his property's not changing to a different district, so it won't change. And then, of course, it's the county tax office that would. Doesn't think that anyway, so.
You still have some time. Do you have any more questions or comments?
Not right now.
Okay.
Well, I do, I guess.
Uh-huh.
If we need to get a fire truck in there, and there's gonna be less space to turn around or get it in there, what are we gonna get any service from them, or we gonna be cut off there again?
Yeah, so any changes they make to that property will have to go through the zoning approval process, and we have built into that, requirements for emergency vehicles, turn around and access space. And Mike Beck, our chief, he can get any vehicle anywhere he needs to get it. So you will not be negatively impacted when it comes to police protection or fire protection. Anything else?
That's all.
Okay. Anybody else from the public want to speak? No? Okay. So now I need a motion to close the public hearing. Okay, any further discussion from the board? Motion, all those in favor? Nice. Okay. Public hearing is closed, so now we move to new business, and the first topic on there is the zoning map amendment request. And it is now time for the board to discuss the request.
The planning board report first.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot.
Sorry about that. So the planning board met last Thursday and voted to recommend the town board approve this zoning map request. The decision was 3-1. Also, you may want to consider, if this is approved, the board will need to engage a consultant to update the future land use plan to reflect the map amendment change, since this is going from residential to general business on what our future land use plan says.
Okay, for discussion. Right ahead. You have nothing? You have nothing. Okay.
Well, I think it's pretty, we have to take pretty seriously reducing any residential opportunities, which is what this is, face value. Challenges that we have with housing in general. Certainly affordable housing. With that, with that said. Everything around it's.
Sort of common sense for it to be business though, with everything around.
That's what, yeah, I agree.
Everything front and to one side is general business, right? And we are losing some space in that front lot. And this gives an opportunity to expand the business and give a particular business a chance to relocate.
Yeah, I have a question on that. I don't even know who can answer it, but I think you mentioned that it could be either Zaxby's or Pizza Hut moving on to these lots. How would they get there? They wouldn't have frontage on 107, right?
Yeah.
They would?
Yeah. So if you look at this map.
I guess I missed something there.
So
I'm thinking it's behind Soul Infusion.
Pathfinder Lane is gone, so it's all connected all the way from front to back.
right, so we're talking about these 6, or there's more than 6, but these need to be rezoned right here. So this is already zone business and.
Oh, there's nothing there.
That buns up.
That's soul infusion right
Yeah,
there.
that's all.
That thing right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's that big empty kind of lot thing there, which is gonna kind of come back. So I'm gonna push back a bit from the 107 redo. And then they'll be on 107, but they can go right here or something. Yeah, like 107.
is it
gonna
the
be-
Soul Infusion lot in question? I think it was.
No, this
It's
is
actually
actually I'm
in-
talking about.
It's in the high density district.
Yeah.
So
This is the stuff behind it.
This is the part we're talking
So this will
about.
be.
It still begs the question, if something happened on the Soul Infusion lot, how would you be getting to this stuff that was on it? Oh,
It is owned by the same person, but also Pathfinder Lane comes into this way, doesn't
I
it?
missed that detail.
Yeah,
So the Zaxby's or Pizza Hut would wind up being between where Soul Infusion was and 107, more than likely not set back.
Well.
They want the frontage on 107, right?
Yeah, they'll have frontage on 107. All those 8 lots, we're only talking about 6 to be rezoned.
Because the front two already are.
The whole sale package is 8 lots.
Yeah, okay.
The 2 that are already general business.
Yeah, that makes even more sense then. That's all I want to clarify. I didn't realize that. With all the waving around, I lost track of which 6 were. But leave that one island of residential there for the time being, right?
Well, this is
It
still.
wouldn't be an island, it'd still be connected to residential units.
It'll be these 3 lots and these 3 lots is what we call
Kind of an island of residential here.
Everything beside that is residential, right?
This is all residential. This is all.
Further back off
Yeah,
107 is, yeah, but as
Yep.
far as.
And this is still residential on this side too. This is like the border. We're just kind of filling, like right now, the residential extends to here. Sorry, we're just talking about this map. Extends into this,
I get
and
it
then
now.
this gets
Yeah.
pushed back to business.
But so on the housing topic, because that's my only concern for this is that we do lose affordable housing, but there's a difference between affordable housing and good housing. And a trailer that's 70 years old is not good affordable housing. And it sounds like the property owner is going to remove these regardless. We don't need to change the zoning in order for them to scrap these trailers, which it sounds like they have plans
But
to do.
not until DOT, which
Right.
they'll be there better shape for 5 years.
I just wouldn't do rezoning as a method to get updated housing. It seem
Right.
unrelated to me.
Yes.
The fact that the trailers are old and run down is a thing. It's not related to the zoning, correct? So, good to learn, but I don't consider that a zoning issue.
We have that updated. Is it given that Zaxby's and Pizza Hut are gonna have to be relocated? I don't.
Yes,
Yeah, they're just because they're right on the road. So.
So the blue square is zone
Yep.
business. And we would be having those 6 also zone business.
Correct.
And so pin number 8093 and 7865, those are currently residential.
If you're the two, if they're in the yellow on that.
Yeah.
map, yes.
Okay, well, no, the ones beside it.
Oh, sorry, yes, those are as well.
So like if you put Zaxby's or Pizza Hut here, like your neighbor, if you live here, would be Zaxby's or Pizza Hut, basically?
I mean, that corner thing.
So, keep in mind in our future land use plan, of which this yellow line is a part of it, those parts that are residential right now are urban neighborhoods. So in an urban neighborhood, yeah, you're often up against or sharing your space with commercial activities. So those are currently projected to be urban neighborhood classifications, including the yellow.
You're talking about this.
Yes, there's that house in the. Yes. Residential. Now, in the future, if Zaxby's or Pizza Hut go there, then I think that's what would be beside the Pizza Hut or Zaxby's.
But they could be something else too, and plans change. They could be another building, whatever. The property owner can put in whatever they want to put in.
Well, it sounds like they.
It sounds like
they want to put
they're
in
planned-
Pizza Hut or
Yeah.
Zaxby's.
I think it's for clarity's sake, the rezoning is for everything that is a by right use for that district.
Right, exactly.
Intent might be, what the conversation is now for relocating restaurants there. But if that changes to commercial, then or general business, anything under that umbrella, general business could go.
Right.
Yeah,
Doesn't have to be-
So it's nice to know what the plan is to have there, but just know that if you change this to commercial, it's in commercial. But it still has to meet all the requirements. Exactly. So like the fire requirements, getting fire trucks back there. Right.
Designer still have a comment, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
To the left of the blue, it is my understanding, because hotspot's gonna be gone, that the people, the business owners have purchased that. They're gonna do like QP, like a small building and gas station there. So you're gonna have a gas station there. You're gonna have UPS on the other side all the way to the back. So, I mean, it's like wrapping around that's already business. And Soul Infusion has been a restaurant, it's been a beauty shop, it's been real estate. And it's in high density residential, but it's been by the same owner, so of course, nobody ever thought about it for a long time.
Any more board discussion on this matter? So, Amanda, you or Dave, do you want to vote on to approve the request and then a separate vote for adopting the statement of consistency? Okay, so, unless there is further discussion, I will entertain a motion to approve this zoning map amendment request.
That motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Any further discussion? Discussion? Let's go twice. Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
hi,
Okay, motion passes unopposed. And then we will also need a motion to adopt the statement of consistency pursuant to General Statute 160D, saying that the proposed zoning map amendment from high density residential to general business parcels identified by those pins is consistent with the key drivers for the plan for Sylva identified on page 2932 of the town of Sylva 2040 land use plan. Do I have that a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
I have a question.
Yep.
We're set that it's consistent with the key drivers. But it is identified as a variance from the
Plan itself, I'm like. By definition, then we are set. 2040 plan does not show those lots as.
They don't, but that is a guidance tool,
Right.
so you can just.
That's why I was asking for clarification on the phrase
Yes,
key
you can,
drivers.
as the ebb and flow of town goes, that yes, you can update your land use plan.
Sure, that's what key drivers mean.
Right.
I think it's
You're saying
consistent
you are
with the
updating.
overall plan, even though the literal map shows something different.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Like if we were completely shifting our development plan, then we would then amend our actual.
The map.
But this is consistent with it, so.
Thank you for clarifying that. That's what I needed to understand.
And then we will update the map. Okay, any further discussion on that? All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
hi.
Okay, none opposed? That motion carries. And that is all you need on that subject, correct? Okay. So now our next item of new business is the TWASA board appointment. And that would be my seat. I've been on there for 9 years, served three-year terms in December, and that is the max that they'll let me, otherwise I'd stay on it. So we need to appoint a replacement. The town of Sylva, it's 3 appointments on that board. Jeff Sauce and Nick McCardle are our other 2 appointments. The only requirement is that they live inside city limits. I don't know if we've received any applications for the position, but my preference for this position would be so in the past, we've had someone from town staff as one of our 3 appointments. And we don't at this point. We have a business owner and a resident, and I think to round that out, it'd be nice to have someone from town staff, especially coming up. Most of our discussions are centered around infrastructure in the town of Sylva and future growth. And Paige, I think you'd be very well positioned to serve in that role if you would be willing to be our appointment.
I'd be happy to do that if that's what the board wants.
So that would be my recommendation. The board does not have to follow that. They don't want to, but I'll leave it to the board to discuss.
So where are we now? We're in discussion?
Yep.
Okay.
Doesn't sound like it. As
Yeah.
long as you're okay with it, I mean, you're gonna have a lot coming.
Yes, I'm happy to do it. One meeting a month or two?
Two.
Two.
It's a lot.
To sometimes long.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, a lot of times we cancel our work session. We just have our business meeting lately.
All right.
Are you looking for a motion?
Yeah.
I am.
Okay.
I'll make the motion that we appoint town manager Paige Dowling to serve for the first 3-year term of the Boston Board of Appeals.
Motion, any further discussion on that? Favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries. And next item on the agenda is the downtown public restroom project. Give a
Yes.
session on this.
So we received bids this week. We received 4. They ranged from $522,297 to $777,000. The low bidder was Cinderella Partners out of Indian Trail, North Carolina. So we have Odell Thompson, our architect here. So any questions you have, he's happy to answer to those. My automatic recommendation would be to deduct the solar panels on the roof to bring the cost down to $507,423. We have received $390,000 in grant funds for this project. The total cost of the project, including a 10% contingency, would be $608,673.
I have a question about the solar. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you're done giving your.
Sorry. Yeah. So with the solar panel, what did Odell maybe, so what are the solar panels powering?
It's selling back to the utility company. It's powering the whole bit, the lights, the hand dryers.
Right. And how big of a system is it?
I think it's 8 panels. It's not that big, because it's not that big a building.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's a good sized system for a small building. That's why I was curious.
Right.
Yeah.
It's mainly as a good example.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
What was that, Odell? I'm sorry.
Mainly as a good example.
That was the reason for the solar panels was to.
Yeah, the power usage is going to be minimal, but it being that visible in town and the town making the effort to use renewable energy would be a good example.
I agree.
And also to, I would like to see kind of cost figures on that too, because a lot of times when you talk to the solar companies, they'll give you, how many years to pay it off. So again, this is, if we're selling it back or using it, it's not just window dressing, and actually at some point in time we start making money. Do you have those numbers? Like at some point in time, that amount of electricity that's produced by that is saving us money. We're getting free. They pay for themselves and then we're making money, if you will. Could we look into that before we make we kind of get the numbers on payoff, that kind of thing?
We'd have to talk to the general contractor that has the low bid and see who they got to do the
Okay.
and then ask them what the payback period is.
Okay, I'd like to do that before we kind of just, knock it off. I understand it is $14,000.
That was only 13,000.
$14,000, yeah.
$14,875.
Okay.
I mean, the problem with that is it might pay us back, but we need the money now. And that's the only problem is we have to take that from ARP funds, general fund.
And you can always put them on later.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And you can get rebates later.
You
Yeah,
can retrofit the electric panel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
And
great
we were
price.
able to negotiate a price for a solar company at that time. Right now, it's rolled into the bid as part of the public procurement process that we are required by the state. of
Okay,
Illinois.
cool. So I guess that's where I'm coming from. I don't want to just flick this thing off, just to, save money. I'm like, this is really important to me that we are doing this, and, using, green energy, whatever. So yeah, I think, that's reasonable if we but I really want to not just pull this off and be like, oh, we'll do it down the road. I would like to kind of, if we're not going to do it on this project, but to look into, getting a separate bid, and make sure that we're building the project where it's not going to be extra cost to retrofit the building. It is one of those things where we can just, get them on later.
Is it y'all's opinion? Because I thought maybe I was picking up a vibe there that there might be a better way to get solar panels anyway. I mean, I'm not asking you to like swear under oath or anything, but if there's a better way to procure solar panels than via this contract,
I don't know.
there's some likelihood of that.
It's better necessarily because of the bid process. We had contractors give us bids on the entire project.
And the solar's just included in it.
The solar is included, but we also had them provide solar omission. So their price for the whole thing and their price without the solar.
And that's 15,000, 14,875.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
Okay.
With the low bidder right now, it reduced the cost by 14,875. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yes.
Because I share Ben's overall sentiment, and I think Odell said it well. I mean, that is a message that we should be sending, that we're gonna invest in green energy as a town. I can't hold up a whole bathroom.
Can we back up a little bit and we need, looks like we have 390,000 to do this thing and we need 507.
No, total we need 608.
$608,673.
Okay, well, that 15,000 seems like a drop in the bucket.
So.
I think it'd be a good phrase for it.
It seems like a drop in the bucket, but what's the square footage of this building?
400 and something.
What's that?
A little over 400.
So, I mean, we're paying $608,000 or 400 square foot. Like, that's $1,520 per square foot. So, I mean, look at it this way, we want to do these public bathrooms. We got $390,000 in grants for it. And we thought that was just going to cover maybe even 2 bathrooms. And here we are about to spend $608,000, 15K more than that if we want solar panels, when we have other bathrooms that are also in need of repair. And then on top of that, we have the Bridge Park bids that we're going to open on October 25th that are also going to be way higher than we expected. I mean, this is almost double what we counted on spending on this one. We can't pull this money out of a hat for this. So something's going to come, it's going to come at a cost for something else. And what do you want to give up for the appearance of solar panels on a building?
Well, again, it's not just appearance, they will, the cost of electricity per unit is going to, per kilowatt hour is going to go up over the years. We're buying it from, or we're getting from Duke or whatever. So it's not just, this isn't just I just want to be clear, it's not window dressing. It's actually something that it is financially, fiscally responsible to do. But it also sends a message at the same time. I mean, one of the things we're going to hopefully talk about in the foreseeable future is a climate action plan and getting, solar panels and electric vehicles and that kind of stuff. I mean, I know I'm off topic a little bit, but I think it's something that it's important to me as a town board member, and as a town resident as well. But,
Has there been a cost analysis done on this? Typically, as Ben said, they'll estimate a payoff on how long it would take you in saved energy costs to pay for a solar array. That's the typical approach. Has been one of those done? Because I would just say what's that?
No, we haven't done one or had one done because there isn't a building there yet. I mean, the power usage is going to be so minimal there. And I agree with every single thing being said, but the savings per kilowatt hour does nothing if you can't build it.
No, but it, I have seen analysis like that done where it'd be silly not to do it. I mean, I know that we have budget constraints, that's pretty obvious, but if you can spend 12,000 to save 40, then does it not change the picture?
Well,
Not just to show the community that we want to invest in green energy, but literally if it made dollars and cents sense, I would feel irresponsible to not find a way to spend $15,000 if it was going to save us 40 over 10 years.
right, I mean, that makes sense if you're paying, for something with debt service or something, but we do need to find the cash to buy it outright. So here's what I would recommend. I think maybe our discussion on this 15,000 could be a little premature. So we're opening bid. Oh, I'm sorry. I see your hand.
It's okay.
Why don't you go ahead?
I think you were about to go, so I think it would make sense for us to maybe move forward the project without the solar panels and like Brad said, like kind of get that cost analysis. What's the lifetime on the building? What did we say that was?
The lifetime,
The building should last, 100 years?
at least, yeah, if we build it the way it's drawn.
And then what is the lifetime and maintenance on solar panels? How long do solar panels last?
No one knows.
True.
Yeah, they come with like 25-year warranties, so just to start.
I guess I'm wondering if at some point, does a future town board have to find money to replace or repair solar panels? Is there maintenance there? Yeah.
So on the financial side of this, since this might be a little premature, so, we have 390 for this and it's coming out at 608. So our most obvious option for making up that shortfall is the money left over from our ARPA distribution. So also, another large project that's going to use those ARPA funds is the Bridge Park project. And those bids are being unsealed on October 25th, one day before our next meeting. So I think before we decide to approve the Western project, we should wait and open those bids and see if we have money left over in the ARPA funds for this or where that cutoff is. If that project we've estimated accurately, then we do have leftover money. And it's maybe a much easier discussion. If that project comes out twice what we expected, like this one nearly did, then I think it'll be an entirely different discussion.
We did get a set grant amount for matching the bridge part.
Right.
So we're anticipating that wasn't enough of an ask.
Right. Yeah, they gave us what, 375K, right? And that's required matching, so I think it's 375.
I think so. I think we've got 790,000.
790 allocated, and
that's spoken for, that's money that we do have.
So right, so every penny more that this bid comes over 790, it's going to pull from the same pool that every bid over 390 is going to pull from this one. So I say we make these decisions together at one point.
Yeah,
And that's on the 26th of October.
Yes, just to discuss the ARPA related funds. So we have $446,642.15 left. If we took what we need for the bathroom, which would be $211,797, our ARPA related fund balance would be $234,845, plus whatever additional interest we accrue between now and then. So these projects are essentially competing for the same $446,000.
Yeah,
And that's only 20% off on that, our bid estimate to keep that entire.
yeah. So I think that's a good idea to be able to look at these projects kind of side by side if we have to where we're going to move money around, that kind of thing. If we clearly we want to get both of these projects done. These are both super important. And we're weighing in. So I would, agree with the mayor to maybe put this down to the next meeting where we can look at both of these. And Odell, you had something to say, so.
I do, I talked to the low bidder today and got a list. We agreed to a list of things that we could explore to save money.
Mhm.
And I've got that here. I don't have the amounts, but I have that here if you want to copy this.
We could, and we just then, and we could.
Talk about value engineering the project.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to happen.
Yeah,
Sounds
okay.
like
So I
I'll
think,
be talking about.
but the time to look at that is gonna be probably with both projects side by side.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Right.
You think it would be helpful to automatically veto the ones you're not interested in so that we could get the low bidder to give us a better estimate of how low we could get this by the 26th?
If we could agree to what did
Like-
not be done.
Do we need to
Are there
formally
things
reject
on
it?
this list automatically that the board is not interested in considering?
Right.
I have a question. I heard 522, which is on this spreadsheet, low bid from Central Partners, but then I started hearing 608.
Yeah, so we also have the engineering.
Yes, your
Okay.
project.
It's in there somewhere else. There's a whole other.
Is the last attachment.
Just
Yeah.
construction. I
Just the
got it.
construction. There's other.
So 608 was total project cost.
Yeah.
522 is construction. cost.
Including design phase.
Right, okay.
Now, there is a line item here that's $22,000 of contingency.
Right.
I built that into the contract. That we can use if there's something that comes up. If we don't need it, that comes back to the town. So that's why you'll see the 485, 422 on this.
Okay.
That excludes the contingency that I have in it.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's sort of two different sets of savings. One is aesthetics.
Mhm.
Talking to the builder, he said, that's where you're spending some money. The aesthetics, the brick, the siding, the tile,
Yeah.
on the inside, the light fixtures, et cetera. You're spending money there, and you're also spending money on the structure. I designed it as an insulated concrete form system, which gives you a bulletproof structure that's thermally insulated like a beer cooler. And we could do it less expensively if we use concrete block instead of insulated concrete forms.
Mhm.
And you wouldn't see much difference other than thermal insulation.
Mhm.
So there, and then, anyway, there's other things. One thing I thought about as I was walking over here is if we change the aesthetics, if we choose to change the aesthetics so that we can actually build the bathrooms or restroom, well, we have to consult the railroad because they've already seen the drawings. I doubt they'd ever notice, but.
We've got that. It's on video now, though.
So we wouldn't be substantially over. So I feel like this is gonna be, I think we need like a whole, at the next meeting, this is gonna be a big discussion about where, so tonight, you want us just to reject these, higher bids? And just say we're gonna move forward with not accept the low bid, or do we just do nothing tonight and kind of readdress it?
Odell, how important do you think it is to get the low bidder this list so that they can come up with cost reductions for next meeting? Because ideally, we would sign a contract after our next meeting.
Yeah.
I informed them by email that I was gonna tell them what happened at the meeting tonight. And my recommendation is, let's send them this list and ask them to give us like a menu item. If we go to concrete blocks, you can save X. If we do use less expensive door hardware, you'll save X.
Okay.
There's no harm in asking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and they can probably line item it out, and then we can pick the ones we want
Okay.
and see how much that saves.
So town staff really doesn't want to change the door hardware or the toilets. So I would request we leave that off the list of possible deductions.
And yeah, if we start using cheaper materials, it's gonna start looking like protein part after.
No, totally, but I think this is
You know,
like.
after-
Nobody wants that less than us.
Yeah, but no.
We need
But
to
we-
invest this money.
But we need every tool at our disposal to get these two price tags.
It'd be nice to know what our options are.
I mean, it's very likely, like, Equinox did their estimate on this, the bridge park, sorry. Very, much more recently than we did it for this, I think. So,
Yes, theirs was 2 months ago. This
Yeah.
was.
We may not see that much inflation on the
Maybe.
part.
Maybe not.
We
I
just
mean, you heard the
don't, we don't
hopefulness
have any
about
idea
what's
what
there.
those bids
We
are
don't
coming
have any idea. So let's bring in a list and at least we don't have to, we don't have to sacrifice on anything until we know all the prices.
We don't even have to omit things now.
Yeah.
Put a number on.
Just know whether I.
Just know what we can do, yeah, okay, so what are we gonna do? Oh, sorry.
So the next meeting, we would have those numbers, and then by the end of the meeting, we would be signing a contract, right? Is that the?
Probably, yeah.
Or two.
Well, I guess, I mean, yeah, we at least authorize, Paige and myself to sign the contract and we can negotiate things still. I don't know.
Okay,
How long had this one been out when it jumped from the 3?
it's been a couple of years.
About 15 months.
Well, that makes more sense.
Okay.
When we originally talked about it, I threw out 400,000.
Nailed it, didn't you?
Yes, no, I was off by 20%.
Yeah,
And,
But for the original bid, you were right, you were on the money.
well, close. The first one we opened was 777,000. And I almost got
Not a
it.
good first one.
I almost got it and left the room.
yeah.
I would have chased you.
But y'all should have found a closet board the last couple of years. That's like, that's not. All right, so. Sorry, but now,
Did you have? Keep going.
no, go ahead.
Okay, I just, before we get those numbers, just to kind of be thinking ahead for next meeting, I know that a couple of these things on the list are tile. Like, to me, tile versus epoxy, if it's gonna be significantly cheaper, that would be, I don't think that's really downgrading, right?
I think that's a whole discussion. Like,
Yeah.
once we should really get down, have Odell here, like have some pictures, like that's a big discussion. We start if we're gonna start cutting corners, so.
Well, I guess my question would be, if, with those numbers, could someone give an opinion on how durable tile is versus epoxy?
Epoxy floor coatings are very durable and put them in the Holy Fire Department. They're very durable. They're not as aesthetically consistent with our historic downtown, but they're very durable. And in fact, you can put them on walls too. So for example, if we use concrete block, we can do the concrete floor with the epoxy. We can do the walls with epoxy and make it two different colors so that it looks like a wainscot. So there are ways to achieve some design without having those penny tiles on the floor, which are beautiful. But you can't afford them. Beauty doesn't matter.
My preference would be, if the Bridge Park fit comes out where it should, then we just go with what, y'all design.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think next meeting is the time to have that.
Okay.
Anybody on this list, a local company?
I'll probably is.
John Bergen and Al are both local.
So is Buchanan and stuff.
Everybody with winter.
Everybody gets that.
And Cinderella's out in Charlotte area.
I like what you said. I mean, if the other project, Rich Park, comes back close to what it was before, then we have the funds.
Well, they have the
Well,
advantage of not having a building on the project.
We
We know how we'll get.
we can't pick a different contract.
Yeah.
No, I just say pick it.
Oh, yeah.
No, I just mean, as far
We
as
don't make-
deciding what to do this evening,
We don't make.
we need to
changes.
learn what's gonna happen at Rich Park first, because if we stay somewhat in line on the budget, then we don't have to go through all this value engineering. We say that these bathrooms are not gonna be climate controlled.
They are.
They are climate.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's why it's a beer group.
Yeah.
Not the water, not the pipes to freeze.
yeah, okay.
So tonight,
I mean, we still can do value engineering even if
I
we
think
have.
so.
okay,
Yeah,
right. And so tonight, we're gonna just move that, we're not taking any action on this tonight. Is that right?
So, yeah, you don't need any action in order to, well, okay, so we don't need to sign a contract or anything to move forward, but you do want a motion for a motion to approve the resolution or a motion to move the downtown public restroom. Okay, yeah, so we would just need to motion to move the proceedings to the next meeting, right?
I'll make that motion.
And that's it. Okay. And that's enough to get you able to negotiate with the low bidder.
Yes, so when do you think we could ask them to give us their price reductions?
And
Yes,
well, the next meeting is the 26th, right?
right.
So I would tell them that based on this list, can we get these numbers a week before that? Well, we don't, that's only a week away.
That would be great. Then we could send it out in our next agenda packet. Is that
After
too
putting
short?
the entire bid package together, they could get those values pretty quickly.
Well, maybe, but I'll ask. It may be that they'll say we can't do it in that amount of time.
Sure. Over the little side contract.
But yeah, and I mentioned that we've got the 26th coming up. So I'll request a week.
It's the 23rd. That gives them an extra weekend.
Yeah.
And
We gotta have those numbers for that meeting, in my opinion.
by the 23rd.
All right. So we made the motion to move it to the next time, so
We have a motion to move the downtown public restroom project proceedings to October 26th, regular meeting. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye. All right,
Let's see what else is on here.
I think it's to adjourn. or-
Okay.
All right,
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn. Favor?
Okay.
Did I? I had my leg.
Exactly. Got all